right, I made it. A little sketchy, but I made it.
But you want to consider the pitch. If you make it too steep, some of your vehicles may bottom out.
Oh, stump. All right, we'll see if I can pull myself up here or not. Oh, as long as I don't tip backwards. If you own hunting land, if you lease hunting land, or if you want to own some land, and there's any kind of terrain on it at all, this video is probably for you. Hey guys, Capper here, welcome back. I'm gonna show you today basically the cheapest and most affordable way to get from one side of a steep creek to the other. All kinds of options that you can do, some very expensive, some very time consuming. You could use culverts, you can build a bridge, you can try to install a bridge. But by cutting a ford, which is basically a simple ramp on both sides, I'm going to show you how to do it either with a mini excavator or a tractor. There's a few nuances to it. Far and away, this is the most affordable and easiest way to... I'm not going to get into the legalities of this, depending on what state you live in. But most of these creek crossings are nothing more than a runoff ditch. We live in hill country down here, so in hill country, you get a lot of water erosion. So these creeks and ditches can be very, very steep. So you can't just ride an ATV over them, or a side-by-side, or a truck, or even a tractor for that matter. And the cheapest and the fastest way to make a pretty permanent crossing for you, it may need a little bit of maintenance, but either way, it's gonna be a fun video. Let's get some fresh air out in the woods, and let's go cut a ford, is what it's called.
The longest time I was thinking culvert it, but it's more of like a backup from the creek.
Even if you did put one in, it has to be a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're expensive. I mean, nowadays,
Yeah.
they're crazy.
Well,
I'd say just cut a ford.
That's what I
To
was,
start.
That's what I was thinking. Just something where I can get a tractor during the dry season, a four-wheeler during the dry season.
From where we're sitting, it's probably about 6 foot down. So I got to cut a couple ramps. And I see I got a stump right here.
So basically cutting a ford is cutting a ramp on both sides of this, but there are some considerations. Again, you could do this with a tractor and a loader. It'll take some extra time, but you want to consider the pitch. If you make it too steep, some of your vehicles may bottom out on the top of either side, and at the bottom where the water flows through, you got to consider how you're going to shape it, because the water is going to continue to erode in there. But you could add riprap in there or rock. If the water is not too strong, then you'll be able to just cross over that, rock at the very bottom, and it'll control the erosion in the future.
I'm going to back drag it, clean it up. Oh, stump. Man, I hate stumps. Sloped enough where I can crawl the excavator up it. It's pretty well straight up and down right now.
All right, here's just a couple more tips to consider while I'm cutting the backside of this ford to increase its longevity. First of all, the pitch angle. You want an angle that's shallow enough, if you will, to get a machine over it. So you're going nose down with the machine, and then of course up the other side. So pull the angle back as much as you can get to get all your machines over it. That's the first thing. The second thing is water runoff. Anytime you cut a new road like this, the water is going to get attracted to it. So water is going to want to run off in the middle of these new ford pitches, if you will. So there's a couple things you can do to eliminate that. The first thing is you could cut a little gully, like a water cut along the side. If you look at the terrain, whatever is the high side where water wants to come down there, you want to reroute that water to the side of your new ramp so it don't go down the middle of the ramp, because that will eat it away very quickly. Another consideration is after you do get the angles cut, you might want to put some stone on there, maybe some 3-inch or even some 1-inch, depending on what you want to get back across this ditch, you know, that stone's going to help it stay in place from water erosion, and it's going to give you traction in wet months down the road. Or you could plant it in seed. You know, after you cut it immediately, you could plant it in a mix of clover, grass, winter wheat, rye, whatever. Just something that'll grow in this new ramp and put some roots down and hold it in place. So another thing to take into consideration is the width of, you know, how wide are you going to make it? If it's like straight across and there's no turns in it at all, you can get away with making it, you know, 6-7 foot wide. But if it kind of hits it at an angle, and again, you're using the terrain as much as you can, so you can't like predict the best route across this. If the terrain gives you an angle crossing, you're going to have to make it a little bit wider because you are going across it at an angle, of course. All right, we'll see if I can pull myself up here or not. As I don't tip backwards. Oh, come on now. Oh. Oofta. All right, I made it. A little sketchy, but I made it. Show you what we're contending with over here besides lots of trees and vines. There's a little better look. Alright, I'll dig this side out and we'll check back in. So if you're going to dig one of these with a tractor, it's going to be a lot different. Obviously with the excavator you can pull dirt back to you. With a tractor, loader, and box blade, you're going to have to start from the top, like where I'm at now, and you're going to have to push the dirt all the way down into the crossing until you get a usable ramp that you can get your tractor in and out of. And then you take the fill you put in the creek, and then you can pull it out of there after the fact. So with a tractor, you're going to be pushing downhill to get your ramp started, as opposed to the excavator pulling things uphill. Like that. All right, let's take a look at this ford that I made. We're on the way back now. Nice and easy on the way down and on the way up. Gotta get some pictures for Mark. I'm gonna head back out towards the road.